again, if you do have questions, just let me know. So hi, my name is Emily. I'm a peer mentor at the Pre-Health Advising Office. I'm a senior and I'm studying psychology and environmental sciences. I am on the pre-med route as of now. And it's really nice to meet you all. And I will be facilitating this gap year info session for you guys today. So I guess one of the big questions as you try to navigate your gap year is to ask yourself, what are your goals? Like what exactly do you want to do during your gap year? And if you don't know, that's okay. That's the whole point of this info session is just to provide you with some ideas on what you can do. But I think it's also really good to reflect and think about like what it is exactly that you want to do during this gap year, or more than one gap year, to help either boost your candidacy for whatever pre-health profession that you want to go into, or something else, which I will go into in a bit later in this presentation. So if you are looking to kind of boost your candidacy for a pre-health professional program, you might want to consider, getting more clinical experience, maybe some research experience. If you feel like you don't really have that much, you could most likely get some volunteer experience. If you want to boost your GPA, there are programs where you can do that. Perhaps you could study for your exams, like the MCAT, dental exams, your OAT, the GRE. It depends on what pre-health profession you want to go into. Maybe you want to get some general work experience. And I think taking a gap year is also a really good opportunity for you to reflect on your experiences before you apply to whatever professional school you are interested in. And I'll be going into each of these in a little bit. So if you are interested in getting some more clinical or research experience, I would really highly recommend that you take a look at the PHA blog. I actually stumbled upon the blog just this year as a pre-health peer mentor, and I kind of wish I knew about it earlier. Oh wait, sorry, there's somebody who wants to join. Okay, yeah, so I would, they actually post a lot of job opportunities for research and for clinical experience, and so I would highly recommend that you take a look at this link right here, or you can just Google, Emory University PHA blog, and the website will pop up. But just to give you, guys a little taste of what it seems, I'm just gonna share my screen and then take you guys there to the PHA blog. They update it pretty often too. And if you go to the gap year kind of little section here, they post a lot of fellowships, internships, a lot of opportunities where you can potentially spend your gap year doing these things. And again, they do post them pretty often. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. There's people coming in. 1 second. Yeah, so I would highly recommend that you take a look. Yeah. Okay, let me just share my screen again. For those of you coming in, my name is Emily. I'm the facilitator for this gap year info session. If you guys have any questions at all, just feel free to butt in at any time, since there's only like 6 of you in here. So yeah. So going back to what other things you can do for clinical or research experience, you guys can definitely check out the NIH. They have a lot of research opportunities for current undergraduates and for postgraduates, I believe. You can also look at different like academic institutions. They usually have postings about, or job postings for research on either on their website or through other kinds of job seeking websites like Indeed.com. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's basically like a platform where a lot of organizations post job postings there, and you can just search up research opportunities. If you want some more clinical experience, like let's say you only kind of volunteered at a hospital throughout your time at Emory, and you want something that's more hands-on, you can definitely do that. through certain licenses that you can obtain. So for medical assistant or dental assistant, you could be, if you're going into pharmacy, you could potentially apply for a pharm tech job where they train you there, where the job trains you too, or you can get a certification for that technician job. There's also EMT certifications that you can get where you can actually acquire that hands-on kind of patient care. And usually these certifications are online or in person. Some jobs, like the pharmacy tech position that I just mentioned, some jobs don't require any prior training or knowledge, and they're willing to train the right person. So it really depends on the position, but there are these job opportunities out there where you can get the hands-on patient care. And I think that would, I mean, it's a great opportunity for you if you're going into, like, it's good for you because you're actually going through the motions of what you might be potentially doing in the future. And again, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but Indeed.com, it's just like a job posting website that you can look at where a lot of organizations post current job positions that are open. Just be careful of scams, because I actually applied through Indeed for scribe positions. And I almost got scammed once. So just make sure that the organization that's posting the job position is legit. And yeah, so just be careful of that. And if you're looking to scribe, so if you're pre-med and you're looking to scribe, these organizations, Physicists, Scribe America, and if you're in California, SCIA Health, these are all pretty decent scribe agencies where they recruit like pre-med students or pre-health students, and you basically work under this agency rather than the hospital to scribe at a hospital or clinic. Usually they're emergency department settings where you're scribing alongside the physician. Sometimes they're outpatient clinics. Yeah, but for the most part, it's the emergency department. You could also volunteer at a local clinic or hospital. That's also another option to get some clinical experience as well. And if you're interested, you could also check out some international medical or dental mission trips. It really depends on your pre-health kind of track or what you're interested in. But if you're looking to kind of get some international exposure, that might be an idea that you could follow up on. Are there any questions at this point? Okay, moving on. Okay, so in terms of volunteer experience, I'm not sure how much volunteer experience you guys have had in the past, but if you feel that you don't have enough, kind of to like put on your resume, you should definitely try to get some more volunteer experience. You could check out volunteermatch.org, especially during the pandemic now. It might be hard to find in-person volunteer opportunities, but volunteermatch.org, I think, does a pretty good job of presenting virtual and in-person volunteer opportunities that you can check out. I actually did volunteer as a kind of graphic designer through volunteermatch.org for an organization that deals with literacy. And it was a pleasant experience, but yeah, there are opportunities out there. You just have to do some digging, and volunteermatch.org is one website that you can check out. If you're not willing, or if you're not really into like the kind of virtual setting, I know it can be hard. You can also try contacting your local shelters or organizations that you're interested in and see if they're providing any volunteer experience at this point. And again, it really depends on what your interests are. But yeah, you can just, yeah, whatever you're interested in. I'm sure that there are volunteer experiences out there. You just have to do some digging as well. In terms of the GPA booster, sorry, if you guys feel that your GPA could be a little better, there are ways to kind of prove to your pre-health professional programs that you can, there is an upwards academic trend. So for example, there are master's programs that you can apply for that can also help kind of boost your GPA a little bit. It really depends on what you're interested in, again. But for example, there are public health master programs, biomedical sciences master programs where you can take additional coursework to boost your GPA. And if you're not really interested in getting another degree, like a master's degree, there are formal academic record enhancer post-baccalaureate programs where basically there's just a set curriculum where you can take whatever courses you're interested in that are higher level. And those can kind of count towards your GPA boost. It won't, I think most pre-health professional schools won't be looking at just your combined GPA with your undergraduate GPA and your post-bac GPA. They will probably look at them separately, but if you can prove to them that you are having an upwards academic trend, that's a really good sign. And so if you are interested in looking into kind of these grade enhancer programs, you can check out the PHAmily. They have a list of some academic record enhancer post-bac programs that you can check out. And if you are applying for these programs, usually you'll be able to apply through the post-bac CAS portal, which is essentially kind of like how you applied to Emory. It's like a kind of like a platform where a lot of programs just are part of it, and you can just mass apply to a bunch of programs. Obviously, each program has different requirements and different essay questions, but it's just a convenient way to just apply to a bunch of programs. Some schools offer post-bac programs that aren't listed on the post-bac CAS, so you might have to check each institution's guidelines and their separate application process as well. And you also, if you do want to boost your GPA, you also don't need to apply for a master's program or a formal kind of post-bac program. You can do it yourself. And so this is what is called a DIY post-bac. So you can enroll as a non-degree seeking student at your local college, and you can save a lot of money that way because you're not actually seeking your degree in a sense or certificate. You're just taking additional coursework. So those are pretty much the options that I can think of right now where you can boost your GPA if that's something you are looking to do during your gap year or gap years. Are there any questions at this point? Okay. And then if you wanted to take your gap year to kind of prep for the MCAT, the DAT, GRE, OAT, that you can definitely do that during your gap year. If you need some additional resources on how to actually prepare for these exams, you can check out the PHAmily as well. This website actually has a lot of pretty good preparation techniques and some tips that you can follow to help prepare you for your pre-health professional exam. And there's also the option of just getting some general work experience in. I think it's a good way to save up for whatever pre-health professional school that you're looking to apply to. And I think it's also a good way for you to kind of just interact with different kinds of people and just kind of have a little bit of work experience before you go into your graduate studies and actually go out into the workforce. I think a lot of pre-health professional schools want people who are a little bit like well-versed with interacting with different kinds of patients. So I think having some general work experience would be beneficial in that sense. Sorry. And again, this kind of just depends on what your interests are. I had a friend who worked as a cashier at Lowe's before applying to medical school. I've had people who were Trader Joe's cashiers as well, and some people who were just store associates. So I think just having that kind of background is helpful when you're going to interact with different kinds of people in the future, in your future career. And then So this is kind of going back to what I initially mentioned, where maybe you don't want to boost your GPA, maybe you don't need any more clinical or research experience or volunteer experience. You're not really sure what you want to do in your gap year. I think most professionals, pre-health professional schools aren't exactly looking for those specific things. It just really depends on what you want to do. So maybe there's something you've always wanted to do, but you haven't had the chance to. Your gap year would be a really great opportunity for you to do that before you actually, spend the next 2 to 4 to 10 years in your pre-health professional studies. It is a lot, and so that's why a lot of pre-health professional schools want you to have a good sense of who you are. They want you to have a good understanding of what your interests are before applying to before attending these pre-health professional programs, because they are really long and they are arduous. So your gap year doesn't have to be, I think your gap year should be productive, but it doesn't have to be productive in that traditional sense where you have to, get clinical experience, research experience, volunteer experience, etc. So I think the most important takeaway for your gap year experience is to kind of make sure that it paints a picture of who you are, like who you are as a unique person, how it ties into your growth as a person, as an applicant, and how it also, tells the admissions team about who you are and how authentic you can be. So yeah, and again, everybody's path is different. There is no one right path. But yeah, just, as long as it's conducive to your goals and your future and who you are becoming, I think that's what's most important about your gap year. And lastly, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the PHA Instagram page, because we're going to be doing a series potentially of Emory alumni who are currently doing gap years. And I think it would be a really great opportunity for people who are interested in taking a gap year to kind of see like what other people are doing and potentially give you guys some ideas too.